Hello, and thank you for coming back to draw with me again today. It's really nice to have you back along. I'm really looking forward to 20 minutes where I can put everything else to one side and just enjoy making a drawing. So today we're going to have a go at drawing this mushroom image, and to draw it today I'm going to be using just my normal HB pencil and my rubber, and then I'm going to be adding colour today with some colouring pencils. So I've got 3 different shades of green, and I'm probably going to be using the yellow colour as well. So today I really want you to focus on how you might lay down the different shades of green, how you might mix your colours together and create a nice depth of colour. So really focus on the process of how you mix your colours together, and don't worry at all about how it's going to look at the end. So draw along with me, but don't try and copy my drawing or try to make yours look exactly like the image. Let's enjoy making some marks with our pencils, enjoy building up and mixing our colours, and let's enjoy just drawing along together. So go and grab the materials you want to use today and your beverage of choice, and I'll see you in a moment. Our focus today is just going to be on building up and enjoying building up different tones or different shades of green into a drawing. And because that takes quite a bit of time, what we're going to do is work quite small today. So I'm going to draw myself really quite a small frame. So if you're using something like crayon instead of colour pencil, then this will be a faster process. But if you're using coloured pencils like me, then it might be worth thinking about working quite small. You can always erase this and go further and go bigger if you want to. And then within your frame, you can draw the little mushroom shape. So just as before, we're thinking of finding the line that we like, moving our lines around until we get a shape that we think we're happy with. So I've got the shape of the mushroom that I like, and I'm just now going to put in the shape here. So erase any lines that you find distracting, and I'm not going to worry about finishing the bottom of this stalk, because you can see we're going to fade that into the grass and so on in the foreground. So once you have a shape that you like, it's probably worth just running your rubber just over it so that it's very, very pale, because we don't want to have an outline, a dark outline around this. So I'm going to be working in just 3 shades of green that I have, and possibly a little bit of yellow. And if you haven't got a darker green like this, you could grab something like a brown and then build that on top of your green tones to get a slightly darker green. And we're just going to start by using the side of the lead and putting in a green into a lot of the spots. I'm just making it a little bit patchy at this top area, because I might want to have some areas that are a little bit lighter. But along the bottom here, I'm going to kind of just cover the white. So don't be worried about how this is going to look or what's happening here. Just get some green down just to get rid of the white paper, particularly around the bottom part. But keep it quite light if you can. Just going to rub out that pencil line there, because it's a little dark. So once you've got your basic first layer of green down, then what we're going to do is just put in these out of focus sort of patches of different tones of green. So as always, there's no need to try and get an exact copy of the photograph. This can be very random, so just enjoy putting in, use your side of your pencil if you want to, different patches of greens. And just take care as you go around your little mushroom, and just go to around this area here so that we've got lots of space to put our grass in a moment. So just the top 2/3. So I'm working in this sort of horizontal way, but you could actually work in any direction you want, and it's quite nice sometimes to put them in almost like circular strokes. As you can see, some of these are quite circular. So just whatever the mood takes you today. So you can build up the pressure now a little bit with your pencils. Start to get some stronger colours in, because they're going to all work differently as they go on top of others and as they layer. So I'm just layering a little bit of yellow on top of some areas, and as it layers on top of the different greens and the different mixes of greens, it will create quite different colours. So always just taking a bit more care as I get close to the mushroom shape So sometimes a good idea to get a little bit of paper to lay your hand on, because your hand will smudge and drag some of your colour around. And if you don't want to have a green hand at the end of this, you can get a bit of paper to put on top just to protect your hand and the drawing. So you might be making quite fast marks today, or it might be that you want to work really slowly and carefully. Just try and get lost in putting those colours down, switching between the pencils, and not get too worried about how it's going to end up at the end, but just enjoying seeing how the different colours mix together. And like I said, you can put some browns in here if you want to make some really dark colours too, because there are some darker areas. So I can run my colouring pencil over larger areas now, because there's so many different variations of colour underneath, and I can even press harder or softer in different directions and really build up some of the colours and tones, getting lots of variety in there. So you can come back and add more to this after. We're just going to start to put in now the grass that's in the bottom part. So I'm just going to strengthen some areas a little. And then with not too much thought or worry, we're going to start to put in these blades of grass. And they go in all sorts of different directions. And there's some yellow ones too, so I'll start with the yellow. And don't worry if it seems a little bright, you can always darken it down afterwards if you feel like it's too strong. And then I'm just going to put in with quite scribbly lines. Just like we did here, but with longer shapes. We're just going to add in different grass marks. And as they get further up, you can see they're quite soft out of focus. This mark here is some piece of grass that's actually in the foreground, it's completely out of focus. I'm going to ignore that, but I will put in some of these ones, which are quite nice for just framing. So you can see that even though there's quite a lot of colour down, I can still put in with a little bit more pressure, some grass into the background that's sort of almost out of focus. And just take care with your darker greens. You don't have to push quite so hard to get a similar effect. And it's quite nice to put some of these ones in because they almost frame the little mushroom a little. So just switching your pencil, keeping on putting in some interesting little marks of grass shapes, different directions. Even some going almost horizontal. And then you can see that there's some really quite dark areas here. So if you've got your darkest green, you can fill those in. But you could also use a little bit more brown. Or even, if you're very careful, a little bit of black. So I'll show you that in a second. I'm just going to fill a little bit more grass shapes in. So let's put in a few darker areas now, which are almost like the shapes around and behind the different grass. Strengthening some of my grass shapes as well as I go. I'll show you a little bit of how you might build some black on as well. So just really lightly, if you want to make some areas dark, or build them so they're mixing with the greens and the browns, so you don't have pure black anywhere. And so once you're happy, you might want to just have some parts of your grass that are just a little sharper, a little more detailed. Just going to take a few over the stalk of my mushroom. So you can just flick your pencil to create some smaller pieces. So you can build up your colour strength in your background for as long as you like, really, and you can get some really nice depth of colour and really interesting mixes of colour as you just work pencils on top of pencils for as long as you really feel like you want to. And you can leave this and come back to it another time, come back to it a little bit later to build up even stronger colour and even more variety of colour. And you can continue to put in little details of more grass in if you want to. Having a few more bits going in different directions. But we'll put in the mushroom now. So what I'm going to use for this is a grey and a brown, first of all. And I'm just going to mark in some little lines around the tip of the mushroom. And I'm not worried really about making them as detailed as they are in the photograph. I'm just doing them like this. So this is just with my grey. And I'm going to focus a little bit more on this side and keep this side as light as I can. And then with my brown, put in some of this little texture a little bit more. Keeping it all very loose and scribbly. And then I'm just going to grab my yellow, put in this part at the top. maybe a little bit of orange, just right, my yellowy orange just around the top part here. And a bit of grey. Using these lines to give it a little bit of form. Focusing on the right hand side. Put a little yellow on the stalk, on the right hand side, and a little good bit of grey as well. Keeping it nice and light. So the vast majority of the work has been done by putting the greens around the edge. So if you feel like you've lost the edge a little, then just a little more green around the edge to make it a little stronger. So you could be working on this for a long time, really, and just enjoying just keeping on adding. Maybe darkening some areas a little more. And the more depth of colour you build up around your little mushroom, the more it will pop out. And you can also use a white pencil if you like to, which can do one of two things really. It can be used as a bit of a blending tool, but it can also be used to make some areas just a little bit more pastel. So I'm just going to use it a little bit to just blend some bits in and just lighten up some of the colours of some parts. And then put a bit more green over the top. So as you can tell, I could work on this for a lot longer, because it's really enjoyable just to build up the colours. I'm just going to lighten up the areas of my mushroom that should be light. Okay, a couple more lines. Tidy up. And we'll leave that one there. So thank you for drawing along with me again today, and I really hope you enjoyed it. As always, I'd love to see all your drawings, so you can send your drawing to me on Facebook, on Instagram, or on Twitter at the City Workshop. All the details are below. And I really hope you'll come back and draw with me again tomorrow. So I'll see you then.